What up, y'all? It's Torre. Welcome to Truth Talks, where we keep it unapologetically black and unfiltered. They say woke sells, but at what cost to us? Tonight, we're talking woke or broke, how corporate America profits off of black pain over and over. We're pulling back the curtain on that performative bullshit, that allyship. We're cutting through that and asking the real question, are these companies actually caring about us and our struggle? Or are they just using us to get over on us, to get more of that money? And how do we reclaim our power back from them? Right now, we're about to have an amazing conversation. It's Truth Talks. Let's go.
Are y'all ready to roll? Let's go.
All right, Truth Tellers, it's another episode of Truth Talks, here to blow your mind and make you think about things that you have not ever thought of before. Returning our favorite guest, Lauren Lake. Judge Lauren Lake is here. How are you?
I'm well. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here and fully prepared for the apocalypse. Also fully prepared for the apocalypse, Dr. Jamal Bryant.
What's up, Truth Tellers? Your favorite doc. I'm here. I'm back. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I want y'all to keep lighting the chat up because y'all been in the chat going crazy. I've been seeing y'all go in there talking about, that's right, sis, what Dr. B said. Yes, Dr. B, cook Dr. B, preach Dr. B. So I still want to hear that. And I want to know when you don't agree with Dr. B. Because I know sometimes I say some things where it looks like the screws are missing, but let me tell you something. I don't want the screws back. I like it just like that. I love it.
I'm glad you recognize that sometimes the screws are missing, but I want to know if I can borrow a little zombie repellent. I know you are prepared for everything, and my man Dimitri's going to deal with the zombies in Chicago. How are you, young D?
Listen, she prepared for everything. I'm prepared for nothing. Listen, I just like they drop in the chat that I'm handsome. That's all I really care about. You know what I'm saying? That's all that matters. That's all that matters. What are we talking about?
Wow. Well, I'm sure that you can get some sisters to help you with that, and maybe some brothers too, because the cheekbones are cheekboning, right?
You know what I'm saying?
The skin is clear. I mean, like, I can't even front. He's a good-looking brother. I can't, right? I can't even front.
Look, that boy ain't good looking. That is a fine, in his words, YN. That YN is fine. He lucky I took my little cougar claws and retracted them because, honey.
Wow. Hey, let's get into trending truths, even though that topic was fantastic. We can go around with that if you want. Dollar General Pastor Jamal Bryant, who I love, Dr. B loves. We all know him and respect him and love him and appreciate his activism over a long period of time. Very serious, real, important figure in our community. He's calling for another boycott, this time Dollar General. He had a discussion about this. I want to roll a little video of Dr. Bryant talking about the Dollar General boycott. Let's roll that.
Next up is Dollar General. And questions have been coming to me from around the country and from across social media. Why Dollar General? Because they've been hiding in the cut, not being accountable, and not being responsible. What you may not know is what I didn't know. And that is that Dollar General has 3 times as many stores, hear this, of Target and Walmart combined. 21,000 stores. Most of those stores are in communities of abject poverty or rural areas that have less than 20,000 in population. They are predators.
D, you're in the hood. This is an important question because I respect the brother standing up to a company that does a lot of business in the hood and saying, you got to do better for people in the hood. But those folks who are patronizing Dollar General on the regular live probably in a food desert where it is hard for them to easily acquire the basic necessities that they would acquire at a Dollar General. So we're kind of saying to poor people, can you do without so we can get Dollar General to be more just to you? And I appreciate the overarching goal, but it comes with a bit of pain for the average person who's going to have to carry out this boycott. What do you think about what Pastor Bryant is offering? See, Dr. Bryant, what Pastor Bryant is offering to the people, asking the people to do here?
I can tell you, for one, I get it. Like, I really do. I understand what Pastor Bryant's trying to say, and I understand that his heart's probably in the right place. But to be mad at Dollar General about DEI policies, I think is probably the wrong look. I think, to be real, my mother did not raise me on DEI slogans. She raised me on goddamn EBT and Dollar General tissue. You understand what I'm saying? She raised me on what she could afford. She raised me on what she could do. And boycotting the only options that's left for a lot of people, when you got to go 5 to 15 miles to get to the nearest Walmart or Target or XYZ, this is all a lot of people in the hood have. This is the one store willing to stay open late. You got your Family Dollars, but those who play into the same effect. These are those stores that matter to the people who are, like, imagine. I don't know if Pastor Bryant has ever had to attempt to feed a family on Whole Foods fucking prices. Like, it doesn't work. It's not reality for a lot of people. And I think when you make statements like this or attempt to target places like this, you exclude a lot of people who survive on just this store alone.
Doc.
Yeah, and this is my thing. Pastor Bryant knows that's my guy. We claim cousins from time to time. That is my guy. But I do want to say what he's been doing with Walmart and these other initiatives. Is his heart in the right place? Absolutely. His heart posture is there. I get what he's trying to do. I understand he's saying there's sacrifice for us to move this throttle. But Pastor Bryant, I got a question from your good old doc over here. What other resource are you going to offer these folks in the inner city, in the hood, who don't have anything else close enough? Some of these people are on public transportation. Some folks are walking to this Dollar Tree or to this dollar store. Some people don't even have access to a store further than that, closer than that. So if we shut these stores down, how do they feed their families? And then I want to ask this. The church is supposed to be a place for resources, Pastor Bryant. I'm going to hit you, brother, but I still love you. And I would love for you to come on True Talks and explain to us what your plan is for resources after I say this. Are you going to offer up that your church becomes a resource where the people who are not going to shop at the Dollar Tree can actually some type of way put in a claim or contact the church and get the resources that they're not going to get from this store from the church? Now, listen, I'm willing to help contribute. I'm willing to be a volunteer part of it, but I want us to be very proactive in telling our community what not to do, but providing a resource on what they can do in lieu of what they're going to miss out. Because for some people, listen, that dollar bread, that dollar milk, that is all they have. And we can't strip them from that and then say, well, I don't know what to tell you, but it'll get better later. That's what they've been doing to us all along. We can't be a part of that rhetoric.
I appreciate the point. And if the pastor is going to say to folks, we're not rolling with Dollar General right now, there is a conversation to be had about him saying, here's the alternative.
Yes.
Here's the thing, though, for me, protesting is not supposed to be convenient. It's not supposed to be easy for protesters. It's not supposed to be easy for the state. We're making it hard. We are, as Baird Rustin would say, we are putting ourselves in the gears of capitalism and making it stop. When Dr. King was doing the Montgomery bus boycott, people walked to work every day for over a year. And it is easier for me to sit here and say that than it is to actually do that. But sometimes we have to take extreme measures to show the corporations we can live without you and we can be more powerful than you. And that will make them. And when I see, okay, well, these people will be without such and such, that's Dollar General's fault, right? I don't blame the protesters for what happened to them. If Dollar General comes correct, then they will go back to serving the community. Lauren, as long as Dollar General is not serving the community, then we have to protest them and deal with whatever consequences.
We do. I mean, I think he's in a very interesting position because he's almost damned if he does and damned if he doesn't, right? He had a very successful boycott of Target. What's next? Where are we going with this movement? There's no store where it's going to be, best case scenario versus worst. He has to choose a place. I also did hear him say a little bit further along in that speech that he does understand that these stores are in areas that are considered food deserts, where if people in those communities must shop there, he completely understands that, which is why he also brought up the digital boycott factor, where he wants people to send emails. He wants people to even write letters. He wants people to make phone calls making demands. I think what he's trying to do is keep the momentum going from Target, where we are putting companies on notice that if you don't value us, we won't value you. And so maybe in those food deserts where people still must go, right? Of course, go. We're not going to have you starving over no boycott of Dollar General. However, in the communities where you do have options, maybe choose another option. Now, this is where it gets tricky for me. What's the option? So everybody's saying all the time, okay, so now we ain't going to Target, everybody going to Walmart. But I thought we had a problem with them. And then everybody says, well, now we're not doing that, so we order them from Amazon. Do we have a problem with them? I feel like there's this, we don't have a large scale blueprint of where this is going and how. And no, we can't do everywhere at once. I do understand that. But I think we do need to understand how this blueprint flows so people can kind of have the big picture of what we're doing. And more importantly, how we move as a culture to then combat it's almost like our tie to these larger corporate, like what could we be doing as a people to where we always don't have to go there? Now we've got some places online. I've seen those where there's all Black owned businesses. There's just a lot of questions that I think are going unanswered. However, I believe if he stops, he'll be criticized more than if he keeps going and just tries to find the best case scenario to continue.
I absolutely understand what you're saying. And I'm not saying he should not be holding Dollar General accountable. I think that's fine and dandy. But when you look at corporations like Target, a lot of those are outside of the hood. See, there's a difference between holding a company accountable and holding the hood hostage at the same time. They can't really align. If you're gonna shut it down, cool. But this is for, Pastor Bryant. Listen, if you're gonna do that, you gotta come to the hood. You gotta do some food drives. You gotta give free shuttles to people going for better grocery stores, like single mothers to vouchers for single mothers, who can't dive into the political aspect of it because they too busy worried about feeding their families. Like, I get it. I get what you're trying to do, and I get what you've done. I seen the way it worked for Target. You said don't go to Target. I wasn't in Target. But if you tell me that the only way I know how to get to where I'm going is through CTA bus, that's Chicago Transit in Chicago. If you tell me I can no longer take that, what do you want me to do to get to where I'm supposed to be for my family? I need answers. I need solutions, not emails.
And this is where community leaders are supposed to commune. This is where leaders are supposed to come together and not be divided. This is where Black Lives Matter no longer has a problem with NAACP and vice versa. This is where church pastors and bishops and congregations come together to congregate, to figure out a plan of action. This is where people say, wait a minute, we are going to have a plan. And we're also going to have an issue and concern. I understand Torrey saying that, look at, protesting and doing these things comes with a little pain, but we are in a place where we have leadership, enough churches, enough folks who can come together and say, okay, we are going to do this call of action for our community, but we're also going to provide this plan of action for our community. We cannot leave our people hanging because then we are doing nothing different than the oppressor. We cannot tell our folks there's a problem. I'm going to give you a bone, go fetch. But we ain't going to tell you exactly how to fetch, what to do, or where to go, and how you can thrive in your community. It's just not fair. Again, does he have a right heart posture? Hell yeah. Do I love what he's doing? Yes. But lastly to my point, before I can land, who are the stores and the folks that we can partner with that will offer these vouchers, that will offer grocery credits? Because there has been time in our community that we have boycotted many stores in the Los Angeles area as NAACP. We partnered up with 99 Cent Store. We partnered up with stores. We have a Big Lots for us out here that say, yeah, we're donate $100 gift cards to the folks at the college that you're the vice president of Dr. Bryant. We're donate grocery gift cards to the people who are in the projects that you're telling them to stay away from, or that certain stores are not catering to. You have to first put plans into action before you go tell people what action you want them to take, especially a marginalized community that's despaired and they don't have a thriving plan. They are surviving. We can't make it heavier for them. We got to go in there and help them out. That's just what you do. And if you got to be boots to the ground, like Demetri said, show the fuck up. Show the fuck up as a person and say, look, I'm Pastor Bryant. I'm Dr. Bryant. I'm Judge Lauren. What do y'all need from us? Who should we partner up with that where we can help you? And if not, we're going to help you figure it out.
You're right that the pastor has to have some action, some real tangible action to provide people with another pathway. Because if they live in a food desert, we can't just tell them, well, you just can't get milk. I'm sorry. You can't get it at Dollar General. You can't get it at all. Like, well, that's not an acceptable.
And you have an infant child.
Yeah, so he has to help people find a solution to not need to patronize this predatory store. Because on the long term, we do need to root out the predatory corporation. Yes. But what is the day-to-day action you're allowing the people? And like there is a big difference between Dr. King saying, okay, well, you're going to walk to work versus, well, we cannot access milk. Like we do need milk or bread or what have you. So we can't just tell people, well, just walk and get that. Like you can, but you can't. So I need the pastor to at least maybe come on here and tell us a little bit more about how he's going to effectuate this. And if you're in the comments and you have ideas on what those folks in that community can do and who they can turn to for resources so they can boycott Dollar General, please let them know. Please let us know, and we'll share with them, and we'll put it all in our.
And I want to push really quick for people to, because Judge Lauren, you said this in one of our episodes. Push for people to build a relationship with their local officials. Everything, listen, your local officials could do more for you than your state Congress, senator, or the president locally. Build a relationship with them. We had our local councilman, Tim McOsker, give us buses to bus the kids that were in the projects out to different basketball games, football games. We had an exposure program. They will bus. So Pastor Jamal Bryant, can we get in contact with and have partnerships with our local officials where they were busing food, busing milk, busing water?
Exactly. And that's the feedback I think these movements need. And that's why I was talking about, I think there needs to be more of a blueprint, a greater understanding, instead of this transactional approach of we're going here. Okay, we're going here. How does it connect to where we're moving? What is the map of how this creates the positioning that we want to create? I also want to say this, which will be, slightly uncomfortable, but a reality that I think we need to address. While I think he does make it clear that if it's your only place to shop, we're not asking you to go hungry. He said that. It wasn't in the clip that we played, but it is later on because I listened to it. He said that. I do want to talk about the way in which our leaders today, they model and they are rooted in such wealth and excess that's almost not relatable. And this is where I think the reach and the connection becomes disconnected. Yep. I believe the intention is admirable and credible. I do believe that the visual then of, and this is not just him, this is a lot of our pastors and leaders, that when they're Gucci head to toe and Louis Vuitton, and it's always the best of everything, and it's this, it does beg the question to those who are sitting at home, barely making it. How many more hoops, we got to go jump through while you still out and every day on your stories, you and your wife are living your limitless life. I think there is a disconnect there that I think we need to address, because I don't think our leaders from the past, like when you look at, say, Dr. King's life or Malcolm X's home life, when you see those stories, right, they're not popping out of a Rolls Royce. They're not every day with drivers. We live in a new...
Adam Clayton Powell was.
Adam Clayton Powell, okay. Great.
Some of us were.
Well, my point is this. When you're trying to speak to, I think, a community that is struggling to just survive, I think sometimes them seeing you in a position where it doesn't look like you are also surviving creates a disconnect, or if you don't look really inconvenienced. Yeah. And, maybe I'm off kilter here, but I do think that there is a little bit of a disconnect here that I've even noticed from going to church. And look, I can not go to Dollar General, but I'm not going to lie. Sometimes when I go to churches, when the pastor is head to toe and look like a stylist had to style him, I'm like, to give the word. I think we have a little disconnect here that we have to address. It's the elephant in the room nobody wants to talk about, because I like to be sharp like the next person. But I'm just telling you that that's what I feel.
You're right on point. You're right on point. It's actually a lot larger than you may think it is. It's not just because they're wealthy. It's not just because the cars they drive. It can be as simply as that man having his legs folded in that video. I don't trust him because his mannerisms ain't even like mine. I've never seen him where I'm from. I swear to God.
That's
He's
real.
a serious activist, but we know him. He's a serious activist. He is in the community,
and that's
he's a very
fine.
serious
But
person.
if you looking at the mental state of a young black man in the hood, his mannerisms ain't like mine. His
If you
words
were in
ain't like mine.
Baltimore, you would be like, I know him. He's touched my life.
Yeah, but Torre, he's saying something different. He's saying he
Y'all
may
not
know
hear
him, but
me.
he's not
You're not
related to
hearing
him.
me, Torre. I don't trust what I'm unfamiliar with. This man can be using words too large for my vocabulary and make him not trust him. This is the mindset of people in the hood. So you want me to trust the fact that boycotting a store where I know the clerk, but I don't know you is what I'm supposed to do. That's the disconnect. That's the problem. It's not just about what they wearing or it's the fact that you're speaking on something, saying you want to help a place you've never been to. I've never seen you. And that's the largest disconnect there is. But I want to ask y'all a question though. In all actuality, do y'all think what we did with Target was a momentary fluke, or is this the best way we should be is boycott the best? Like what do you feel?
I mean, I definitely feel like when we have corporations that are not serving us properly, whatever the problem is,
Right.
then we need to not shop there. We need to be conscious shoppers who are shopping at companies where their values and the way they do business aligns with how we want to see them do business. And we, in a world where we can online order almost anything, there really isn't, to me, a reason that we have to go to the local Target or the local Dollar General. And the thing is, I understand what you're saying about the mannerisms of the leader and the way that a Malcolm X speaks is that in and of itself captivates people and they want to listen to. He seems like me. He's admirable. I get it. But when the thing that we are angry about is so triggering, then those other concerns and whatever privations that you have to go through to stop that company, you'd be willing to go there. I know one of my favorite restaurants in your town, Dr. Bryant, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, as I haven't dug in on the story, but apparently there's much more MAGA-ness and Trumpiness in the ownership there than I had known. And Black people are like, we're not going anywhere. And that is some of the best fried chicken I've ever had in my life outside of Memphis, Tennessee. But I will not go there because I'm so angry about the problem that it's worth it to me to have the deprivation. So when and that's kind of a joke problem, even though MAGA is horrible. But Cheyenne, when the issue is hard enough and makes you angry enough, then you'll be willing to go through those problems.
You know, I'm gonna stand 10 toes down with Dimitri on this. What Dimitri is talking about, Torre, and you know this, we talked about this, representation. He's talking about representation. What he's saying is that it's easy to speak like Judge Lawrence said, from your pulpit, from your high mountain, from the suburbs, from the mansion. Yeah, you can holler from the mansion, right? But what about the people in the fucking desert? It's hot down here. We ain't got no water down here, bro. You and your Gucci, we just trying to have a little bit of water. You and your Bentley, we just trying to get public transportation. We're trying to get a transfer from bus number 2 to bus number 55. Hold on, we on the subway. We're just trying to make sure that my son and me can get on the subway when there's a rise in crime and we can get back safe. Hold on, I get off work at 4:00. My son gets out of school at 3:30. Am I going to get a CPS called on me because I'm just trying to make it from work to my child and I'm a single parent? Wait a minute. So the Gucci in the mansion, that is not something that person can relate to. But you want to come down here and have a conversation with me from up there. And this is why it's important, because for myself, when I said I went from the hood to the hills, I make sure I am the vice president of Harvard College that is in the root of the hood. I don't want to be the VP of Harvard. I like being the VP of a hood, JC. You know why? Because I bring my black ass back to the hood. I drive my green machine, which is a Kia, or I drive my Bentley. But I go in there and I'm boots to the floor. I'm talking to students. I'm having conversations. And in those moments, I'm telling you right now, to Judge Lawrence's point, I try to come in with no makeup. It's not about dumbing down. It's about respecting my people, respecting my city. I try to make sure I come in. I'm as relatable as I can. I don't want to be a weapon. I don't want to be a threat. I don't want to be someone that intimidates them. I want to be someone that they can look to and say, wait a minute, she's not coming to show us what we don't have. She's coming to show us how to get to a place we want to be at. They may not want to be in the hills like me. I want to help them get to where they want to go. And a big part of it is if I don't represent someone that they feel they can identify with, at some point they can become a piece of me, I lose my people. And what is it for me to be in a fucking mansion or a Bentley or wear my Dior shirt or my Gucci if my people are lost in me? If my people can't use me as a tool, they see me as a intimidation factor. That is not what it's about. I don't want to be on no pulpit. I don't want no title. I don't want to be anywhere where my people look at me and say, she's doing a disservice because I can be in awe of her over there, but I can't touch her because she's not within reach. That is not okay. Whether it's me, Pastor Jamal, Judge Lauren, you, Torre, anybody else, we got to be able to make sure we are in the trenches with our people, especially if you're like me or Dimitri or Lauren, who come from the trenches. There's no way I'm wearing my Gucci high heels to the hood, not because I'm gonna get robbed, because I'm good in the hood, because I don't want my people to look at me and say, Doc, you just too far untouchable. You making us feel like there's no hope. I'm here to install hope. And if I got to dummy down or take layers off, then damn it, take layers off. It's no point in me saying I made it if I can help my people see the hope and then making it too. That's the bigger point that I see Dimitri making.
I love that. I love that attitude and that commitment to us and the notion that I can rise, but I'm still going to be at Black institutions and I'm going to be there in a way that will be inspiring and mentoring and uplifting to them. And whatever success we have, we should be thinking about how can we take that attitude and turn it back to Black people and lifting other Black people up with us. And I love that.
Wait, really quick. And that's part of culture competence. Like I say this, it's part of culture awareness. And I'll wrap really quick because I always talk about culture competence being something that the white people or folks outside of our culture need. Guess what? We, the people who made it, the people who are doing well, we need to have culture competence for our people as well. We really do. I
think that the attitude is really inspiring and important. And, as part of what we were talking about when Deion Sanders left Jackson State for Colorado, like you could be at Jackson State helping Black kids who are not able to get the level of coaching that you're able to get. And it's not anti-Deion. I love Deion, but just the attitude of take your success, academic, economic, whatever, and bring it back to Black people and never be so above Black people that you're not bringing your gifts back to them. Like I appreciate that attitude. And I think that's how we all should take our success and really try to pay it forward in that way. And we love Pastor Bryant. I think everybody in the segment respects him and loves him. Dimitri's hating a little bit on the way he sits, but I want that sweater. Who made that sweater? Can I get down on the sweater?
He dresses down, honey. He dresses down. He does, Torre.
He sure does. But if the pastor, and he knows me, he knows Dr. B, he knows Jody, if you want to come on the show and talk to us about what you do with Dollar General and what you did with Target, we would love to hear from you. We'd love to talk to you about the good and the challenging parts of your movement, because we're definitely supportive, but we might need to call him in a little bit, right, Dr.
Heck yeah, I would love to. And you know one thing about Pastor Bryant, he's going to have answers. He always has answers. And I'm not saying not wordplay. He has thought out answers. And that's what I do love about him. He's going to come correct and he's going to bring it.
So let's move on to our politicking segment. Elon Musk has stepped back from his explosive media feud with Trumpy, writing on X, I regret some of my posts about the president. They went too far. Who wrote that for you? That's not how you talk, Elon. You ain't write that shit. The billionaire bromance is back in the spotlight because Elon is apologizing to Trump in public. Dr. B, you said last week the billionaire bromance was all smoke and mirrors by design. Was this, again, Don putting on a show to distract from something else?
Listen, I said that this was role play from the beginning. These two men were not having a real problem. This is what happened. Elon came in and he didn't personally, his companies, i.e. him, got contracts, governmental contracts. Hold on. His business, SpaceX, made $22 billion off government contracts. Tesla, off tax cuts and incentives, made $2.8 billion in 2024. Collectively, to date, Elon has made between $38 and $48 billion for having a bromance with his BFF, Big T. So when he comes in, gets his contracts, gets his money, guess what? He can't just walk off stage and say thank you. He has to say this, Torre, you know what? Screw you. I'm the reason why you got in office. I got a problem with you, Torre. Oh, Torre, clap back at me. So we can make it look as though we had this issue for me to be able to dodge out after I got my bread, I got my bag, and then we can throw people off with the whole reason why we were in relationship. To me, it's no different than a man who got money and a woman who was gold digging. That's exactly how it looked like. The gold digger came in, she got what she got, and we call the guy with the money, I guess, the trick tricked off, gold digger got her coins, and now they got to figure out a reason for this relationship to end. That's exactly why I said it was role play.
Yeah, Lauren, I'm not sure I agree with the doc. I think you have two combustible, highly egoed out people who are prone to say all kinds of things. Trump and Elon both seem to have personality problems where they'll say things that are self-destructive to themselves. And I think Elon got to a point where he was like, I understand that you are not doing the right thing. And I could see where a gigantic pork-filled bill would eventually blow Elon's mind when his whole project has been to go in the other direction. And he said something that, given his wealth privilege, he would be willing to say, and Trump would find offensive. And so now they're fighting. But it's all like when you have the two biggest egos in the country, of course, eventually everybody who is around Trump starts fighting with him within about 3 to 4 months. Most people do not last any length. And Elon was by far the most famous person who'd been in Trump's orbit for the longest. So I'm like, eventually this is going to end. Lauren, what do you think?
I thought it was real. I didn't think it was all performative. I think there may be pieces of it that was, but I felt like the couple of the digs that Elon took with respect to, you wouldn't even have won this election without me, which we were all waiting for that next thing to drop, and so tell us what you really did, and so, and then also the part where he talks about, the reason why the Epstein files haven't been released is because, those are low blows. If you were going to craft an argument, I don't know if we necessarily would include that dialogue as a part of the fallout, especially when we already have the super bill as already a point of contention, right? He could have just been like, he don't know how to do business. You see, he ain't never really done business. That's why his company. So you're going to trust he could have gone anywhere. But when I tell you, he went low with the Epstein files. And also, I saw this coming. I felt like the energy of this had been brewing ever since his son was in the Oval Office and he had that little slip where he had to tell everybody, you ain't the president, you need to just shut your mouth. See, I already knew that there was something going on in that house and things being said that this little boy was picking up on. And I felt like in that moment, Elon had basically said, now listen, I came in here, got this election for you and ran this country for you to this certain point. Now, my business ain't making money. I'm about to go. Don't now try to undo everything I did because you're undercutting my intelligence. And that's one thing he stands on and that people hold him up for is this, supposed intelligence. And I think that is what bothered him. And I thought a part of that discourse was real.
Dee, she makes a great point. All her points are great, but she's talking about a 5-year-old. You got a 5-year-old about the same age as Elon's kid. They tend to repeat everything they hear. So if he's telling Trump, the 5-year-old telling Trump, you're not the real president, he surely heard that from Elon or his mother.
Hey, that 5-year-old repeat everything word from word like a parrot. And you always got to believe them because they're so innocent and spitting it back out their mouth. They don't have bad intentions. Right. But for me, man, I think I may be a little different than everybody else here. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing two fucking rich, spoiled white boys argue like this is fucking Real Housewives of the White House. Like, I'm sick of this shit. This ain't nothing but like a big budget Netflix original for real. While half the fucking nation is living in with overdrawn accounts. Like, this shit don't make sense to me. Like, and I'm supposed to worry about which one of y'all apologize first. Like, I don't give a fuck who apologizes first. Because my motherfucking cousin can't find a job from some shit he did 5 years ago. Like, make it make sense. Like, ain't nobody fixing the leaks at school. The textbooks still say George Bush the president. Like, it's lead in the water. Like if you want to impress me, stop tweeting and go put some motherfucking money in a mental health clinic or something. Like, because this is not impressive to me. And I don't, frankly, I don't give a fuck. Like, why is it relevant to me if they fucking apologize? Like, I don't care.
See,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point, Dimitri. You know why it's relevant to you? You know why it's relevant? The low blows that Elon was taking on Trump are all the things we already know. We knew about this whole possible Einstein stuff. We knew about this whole Einstein, whatever. Say it, Tori. I don't care how you pronounce the damn thing, okay?
Epstein.
Thank you, Epstein stuff. We knew that Musk offered up millions of dollars to people who would go into a sweepstate for folks who voted for Trump. We knew all this. So you're not telling us any low blow we don't know. The reason why it's so important that it's your business, Dimitri, and everyone else's, that this apology happens and all this chaos, and it's not behind the curtain conversations like all the other government contract conversations they had that were behind the curtain, but let's have the argument be on the stage, is because they had to create this fancy for whatever they're doing. When you're talking about power, money, rich, spoiled, and white, supremacist, systemic, these boys is big boys. They in the big dog part. They're not stupid. They've been strategizing this stuff all freaking along. They strategized to get him in office. They're now strategizing to have these fallouts in front of us like spoiled rich white boys would do, so that they can take the narrative, feed us what they want, and we can feast off their bullshit. This is BS. This is about money and power. When that white boy, who happens to be from South Africa, Musk, got in there, got his dough, got his bread, him and Trump were not done having strategic plans and think tanks. Them boys is still planning stuff for the future. They're not done. Power and money and ego and narcissist does not have an ending point. They want us to see this because this is a part of their strategy to say, oh, they got into it. Look at them. No, don't deflect us from what the hell you really doing. Don't deflect us from this money move you're making. Don't deflect us from the strategy that you're attempting to do. No, we see what's going on. At least some of us do. That's some bullshit. I'm calling you out. You ain't had no argument. This is your tactic. This is your planning strategy.
Do they have to make up a diversion? They doing everything in front of our face. Why, I mean, no, like really, keep it real. That probably about 5 years ago, I would have said this is all deflection and diversion. I'm talking about what these people have exhibited is that we will do this in front of your face and there's nothing we can do. Why does Trump need to create a diversion to send the National Guard and send troops? He's doing what he want to do. Ain't nobody stopping him. That's all I'm trying to figure out. He doesn't have to create diversions. They don't even have to talk in private rooms. They doing what they want to do right in their face, and ain't a check and balance gonna stop them. That's what they're saying to the American people.
No, that's 100% right. And what is happening in LA is not a distraction. The sending of the military is the point. And the attempt to say, look what I can do, and can you do anything about it? No. That is the point. He's not distracting from something else. That is what he's aiming to do.
It's not just the point, Teray, it's the plan.
Exactly. But we're going to get deeper into that. We're going to get deeper to that in another episode because LA is hugely important to us in our community. Yeah. But I want to talk about something a little bit deeper in our main topic. How does corporate America profit off of Black pain? From Black Lives Matter statements to Juneteenth sales to DEI, corporate America is constantly cashing in on our struggle. Are they truly for us, or are they just about profits? Were all the so-called DEI initiatives really performative allyship? And did we get caught up in the illusion of diversity again? Black people have always been a commodity since we got on this land. Now they're using our resilience, our pain, our tears, our history to monetize our culture for their profit. Dimitri, when I see like Black Lives Matter hit, and brands and companies want in on the movement, and they're releasing statements, changing logos, changing old brands and stuff, telling us they stand with the Black community. And it sounds good, but 5 years later, you're like, were they really trying to be woke? Were they really trying to show that they truly care about us? Or were they just trying to make a dollar off of Black pain?
You know, the thing about it is it's PR. It feels good because it's safe. It don't cost them shit. It don't cost you a dime. It don't cost you a meeting. It don't cost you a contract. It don't cost you a brick in a neighborhood. Nothing at all. So the thing about it is, I know if I can get the major consumers on my side to believe you everything in Chicago had a BLM fucking logo on it. I'm talking about pet stores. Corporations wouldn't even hire that same black motherfucker they was trying to appeal to. Like, so to me, of course they're going to take the safest option. Of course, the police department, everybody did it. But when it's time to actually care about the neighborhood that BLM represents, nobody gives a fuck.
Lauren, what do you think?
I'm thinking. No, really, because Dimitri makes such a great point. And look, there's a part of me that wants to believe that the absolute shock and trauma that the nation, the world witnessed spoke to the hearts of some, right? That this movement was rooted in some goodwill. However, I know instinctively, intellectually, it was about profit at the end of the day. I mean, the people selling the shirts, most of them weren't like Black people making money off of all of these shirts and clothes and things. But then you look at the flip side and say, well, those DEI efforts did bring a lot of Black brands into spaces where they weren't at the time. And if for just that 3 to 5 year time, those brands got that lift, got that exposure, how do we capitalize on that? I think the answer is murky. I don't think there's a black or a white to it. I do think there's very much gray to live in here, because I think while they did profit, if we're being completely honest, there were some Black brands and companies that got their start and a birth there where they were able to profit as well. On our pain, yes, but also because of some progress.
I don't expect profiteers to do anything that would damage their ability to profit, right? I would always expect them to try to make the most amount of money. And I wonder if this question can be answered with, the answer is both, that they did this because they wanted to make money. And they saw, if you're Burger King or Amazon or whatever, if you reference Black Lives Matter, if you reference Black History Month, if you reference George Floyd and these people who mean so much to us, Dr. King, Malcolm X, whatever, I don't know if these corporations are referencing Malcolm, but definitely King, that they will get our attention and we will feel closer to them. Now, they are doing that to make a profit, but inherently, are they not showing us respect? That they are saying, we need to show respect to the totems and the symbols and the things and the people who they respect, and the colors and the flags. We need to show them that we are thinking about them, that we took a moment and said, let's get some Black actors in that ad. Let's put a Black Lives Matter flag in that. Let's show respect to Dr. King or Rosa Parks or whoever. So they are showing us respect in trying to get the profit. I think they're doing both at the same time. What do you think, Doc?
No. First of all, there's no respect. Respect would be every time you purchase something that has to do with Black pain, Black progress, or a Black-owned business. In my company, a contribution goes to your choice of a Black organization. A contribution goes to your choice of a Black educational scholarship. A contribution goes to your choice of this, or maybe the store, the corporation themselves can say, hey, we're choosing, Black Lives Matters, NAACP, and help Black young kids go to college type of programs. $1 is going to go to that. Instead, what they do is when you go to check out, you know what they do? They say, would you like to donate to such and such? No, I'd like the purchase I'm making that has MLK or that has some Black pain or some Black business or Black association to be automatically donated from your corporation. And when you donate it, guess what? You get the 501c3 tax write-off. So don't act like you don't get to write off what you donate as a corporation, one. And two, I'm so tired of us talking about DEI initiative like it was something that really pushed us. Forbes, Reddit.com, and whitehouse.gov shows the stats and the studies that they've done that white women benefit the most from DEI. So why is it that us Black men and women are so upset in pushing something that wasn't created and nor did we benefit the most from? We need to be able to Touré, one second, I'm gonna let you go, because that is a problem. We are constantly fighting for issues, initiatives, and policies that, again, media has presented a narrative that is for us. It gets us to overtly push that, but covertly, systemically, it doesn't work for us. This is why we got to be able to write, legislate, and author our own bills, our own legislation, so we know exactly who it's tailored to.
You are absolutely right that white women have benefited more from DEI than Black people, full stop. But Black people have also benefited from DEI, and that we're not the most beneficial does not end the conversation to me. That I think that there are ways and there are people and corporations who understood that diversity is valuable in and of itself and elevated people to decision-making roles because they understood we are a better corporation. This is self-interest. We are a better corporation when the decision makers look like the country, when there are Black people in the room, when there are gay people, when there are women in the room making the decision with us. We are going to make better decisions. So they understood it is in their interest to be diverse. Now, we're moving in a different direction at this point because of Trump, but I think there is value in DEI inherently. Dimitri, go.
You know, I like to see respect as something that never fades. I think the thing happens when you fall back on, you could view it in a relationship, a marriage, a parenting thing, regardless of when the situations change, respect is still on the table. Now, as you know, Torre, the moment the Black Lives Matter movement began to fade, everything went back to normal. It was no longer Black power and stand up for the people and all these things that they pushed early on. What really happens is a lot of people tended to revert back to who they were. Respect happens in silence. We need you to respect us before Black Lives Matter movement was profitable to you, and they didn't. Where their money was going and what they was profiting on, like to Dr. Bryant's point, is what they truly respected. And that's just my opinion.
The BLM conversation is very important that you bring up. And it's very, very difficult for a mass movement to have a long-term impact. That is the goal, but it's very, very difficult to accomplish. But Black Lives Matter did have that impact. That one of their main goals was to get people to understand that these police killings of young Black people were interconnected. They were part of a singular system. It was something that we could deal with. It was not a bunch of isolated incidents. And before Eric Garner and Trayvon Martin, that is generally how most people in America and media saw this and treated this. And after BLM educated the country, people started to see and talk about this as a singular thing. And the body cameras are a good and bad step forward. They're not the end. They don't solve everything, but they do give us something. And that is a lasting legacy of BLM. And there are other smaller things. There's occasionally officers being held accountable, like Derek Chauvin, what have you. There are some things. I don't want to have it say like BLM did nothing. They did accomplish a lot. But I do understand the point of like respect. Real respect would go further than the trend lines of the politics or what's going on in the economy. There is a slightly different way to approach this, however, right? When you think about Costco, right? They had over 7.5 million visits, an increase of 7.5 million visits after my friend, the Reverend Al Sharpton, organized a buy-in, right? So Pastor Bryant was saying, don't go to Dollar General. Reverend Sharpton is saying, let's go and help Costco because they're doing it. Let's roll the video of Reverend Sharpton dealing with Costco. So here's part of the thing that the Reverend is dealing with there. Dimitri, I want to hear what you think about this. Because Costco increased its hourly pay to $32 an hour in some states, which is a fantastic rate for a lot of people, right? That's way above minimum wage. And we like to see that high rate for people who are working at a Costco. But they did it for all employees, not just the Black employees. So you wonder, is this really investing in the Black community? A lot of Black people will be helped by this, but other people will also be helped by this, but they're all working class people, right? So I'm like, are you happy that some fairly large group of Black people is being helped by Costco raising its wages, but then this isn't specifically for Black people? So what do you think?
You know, the thing about it is, I think it's exactly what we seen happen with the BLM movement. I'm not saying the BLM movement did not do significant, positive push towards Black culture and Black America. But the thing about it is people begin to take that turn of phrase and saying, well, white lives matter as well. Well, blue lives matter. Well, all lives matter. And to that nature. The thing about it is, as long as Costco hiring Black people, go get your $32 an hour. I'm happy for you. That's exactly what we need to be doing. As long as they're employing Black people, that's all that matters to me. Because we talk about this pattern. And this is what I wanted to speak on a little earlier. There's a pattern that obviously Costco wants to push outside of. And in this pattern, there's people who, if you really pay attention to it, protests become commercials, our hashtags become marketing tools, our oppression becomes an aesthetic that they can post all over Instagram and drive themselves and drive their sales because they know Black people are going to support. What they do is they monetize the struggle and package it up just to sell it. See, there's a big difference between performative allies and real accountability. People who actually want to do the work instead of just profiting off your pain. How about you help these people heal? And I don't know about y'all, but I might have to go on over to Costco, get my 32, you know what I'm saying? Because this is better than most people.
Well, you can't work at night because you got to be here with us on Truth Talks. Lauren, what do you think about this, that Costco does something that helps lots of people, it helps lots of Black people, but doesn't just help Black people? Can we look at that as a success?
I don't think we have a choice. You know, and I don't mean to, be the parade rainer, right? But I feel like as you guys were talking, I was just like, the visual I kept getting was hamsters in one of those wheels, the things where the hamsters are running around and then they meet this benchmark and then they go back down. And this system, I think, has Black people sometimes feeling like and operating like we're just hamsters on a system that we don't control. And we're just being moved over to this side of the system. Now we're moving over to this side of the system. And I think we almost have to accept the fact that if we're going to all shop at Costco because we're not shopping at Target, the owners of Costco going to make more money. I mean, 1 + 1 going to be 2 all day, every day. And so, but are more Black people maybe being employed? Yes. Are some of the Black brands that maybe weren't making it at Target now able to maybe debut at Costco for a new debut and those profits, are returned to them? Yes. I think there is good and bad in every scenario. And I think when we're in a system that we don't control, we are never going to be able to ensure that all of the benefit is just segregated to us. We're just not going to be able to do that. And I think that's what I think it's Jamal Bryant was talking about how we did put too much emphasis on DEI in our communities and how it didn't benefit us the way we thought it would. And he just made that point that I think is so important. It's just that we're in a capitalist society. At the end of the day, as much as we want to talk about race, equality, morality, the needle moves in America at green, at money.
So, Doc, what is the call to action? How do we get ahead of all the fake allyship or the performative corporate allyship, the T-shirts and the hashtags, but then they're not talking about over-policing and the oppressive system we're in, the real stuff that we're dealing. So how do we break the cycle that we're in with these corporations?
Yeah, first of all, BML has done great work. We're not going to give them credit for body cams. Obama had $75 million of federal funds that did that. So I'm going to give that to our great old President Obama who put that in place. Moving forward, somebody, either Judge Lake or Dimitri mentioned media. Media is a multi-billion-dollar industry. They make more money off of our pain on the news, on social media, on all of the media that we are all of us are guilty to watching and participating in at some point, right? Yep. And we don't have enough true talk shows that are controlling the narrative of what media they are going to receive. We are also contributing, and hey, some people may not like this, and I don't care, contributing to the crime that they talk about, contributing to sometimes a lot of folks not being educated on politics. So we're not on a lot of the political networks or media streams providing our representation or our voice. A lot of us who are in leadership positions aren't always taking that leadership position and doing what we're supposed to do with it. And so what does that do? BLM got in a lot of media coverage and media attention for a lot of money expenditure that was not in alignment with what BLM was supposed to do. So what does that do? They covered more of that, y'all, than they did cover all of the things that BLM did do. That got huge media. So what am I saying is that, yes, they're making money off our pain. What do we need to do? We have to take our voices back. We have to take our media back, and not just be on shows, but like our show, True Talks. I am very proud, and I say it all the time, and Jody and Lori knows it, that our True Talks producers and owners are Black and women. They own this media. They own this narrative. They own what we're putting out here. So they're allowing us a space to have a Black voice. We have to start doing that. We have to start making sure we take our Black voices and our Black pain and we take it on our own platforms and we monetize off it. And let me go a little smaller, because some folks don't have the capital like the Gomes family does to, just develop an entire show like True Talks. Guess what? But you can have a social media. I don't care if you have 1 follower or 200 followers. Take your media, put it on your social media, monetize off that. Start somewhere small, but we have to be able to take back our voices and our representation. And we have to be the ones that make money off of our history, our pain, and our future, and our policies and whatever else that we're doing. We can't keep letting them make money off us, because we are not only the biggest consumers. Let me go say this, then I'll wrap on this. Y'all, we've been profitable since the slave days. You know how we know? Because the only motherfucking people who were supposed to sell was us. Wasn't nobody trying to buy, and I'm gonna say, I know it sounds bananas. Wasn't nobody trying to buy them white folks. Wasn't nobody trying to, there was no, Toray, I want you to rebuttal after too. There was no profit. They were making a profit off of us from the beginning of times, from slavery days. They're making a profit off of us today, which is called modern day slavery. It hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is how they're doing it. And now we do have leverage today that we didn't have back then to take it and do something different with it. And that is what I want us to do at all levels.
Dimitri.
Question for you, Toray. Could you do me a favor? I know you navigating everything. Could you put that PayPal screen that I had seen back up there a minute ago? Could you work there it is. Thank you, Toray, for doing all you could do for me. I'm gonna ask this question because I know every single viewer, I've always seen things like this throughout my whole life. And if you're anything like me, my first question when I see things like this is, where the money going? Where the money at? Who's benefiting? What neighborhoods is this touching? Listen, I just want to know, you committing it to support Black. I need receipts. I need a transparency report. I need to know where, because $530 million ain't just a drop of a dime. This is wire transfer. These are large amounts of money. Are you actually claiming to help, or is this publicity? Is this you profiting off Black pain again, or are you actually making a difference? All I'm saying is it's about time somebody actually came out and said, look at what I did for Black people, instead of saying, look what I will do, or putting a quote up about it.
$500 million. Do I really care what their intention is? That money will have a huge impact on Black businesses.
How you know?
Do you really love me, or are you just giving me $500 million?
Where's the receipt at? Where's the proof?
Where's the receipt, Toray?
Where's the proof, Toray? Where's the proof?
How you know they gave you anything?
Toray, run the receipts.
They said it, right?
I'm not even dealing with that because I'm not in their books. But I'm saying,
run the transparency receipts. Run it.
If they give me money, that's love.
Did they give you money?
I don't need a further purity test from them to prove why you're giving me money. You actually love me.
What if they say they gave you money?
That's a lot.
But the reason why they can give it or not get it or give it or put it wherever they want to put it is again back to the fact that we're in a system we don't control. And then who do they report to? Who's the girl on the house? Who's gonna check me, boo? That's what they say. Who's Sheree? That was her line. That's what corporations, they can say anything. but where's the checks and balance? And then that takes us back to Jamal Bryant, because we have to commend him at least for standing in the gap between communities and corporations where they don't ever seem to have a check and balance and somebody to say, no, we're going to check you. We want to know what you're going to do. And I think that's where we at right now. And to your point, Dr. Bryant, the reason why, and I got to say this because truth talks, the reason why we were so profitable is because of our knowledge, intellect, and genius. We were engineers, architects, growers. We were all the things, and it built an entire civilization. That's why we were a profitable people, because we were a talented, gifted, genius people. And that has not changed. What I think is happening, this is where distraction, I think, come. We talked about the word distraction earlier. Mm-hmm. This is the distraction. We worried about a lot of the wrong things, and we're not focused on what is going to get us where we need to go. And most importantly, who are the leaders we want to put in place to get there? No, Al Sharpton has been doing what he does for centuries, it feels like. And can't nobody take that away from him. I'm looking for, if I had to name 5, 6, 10 new emerging leaders who are standing in the gap, I'm ashamed to say I couldn't really name 10.
No, there's not. There's not.
Doc, go ahead. That's all you got.
And I just want to say, Dimitri, you on listen, baby boy, you on fire this episode, because you said another word. Don't you bite that lip like that, though. Let me I'm back. You said something really good, transparency report, because there are a lot of funds at the local level that are put aside for the Black community, the minority community. And guess what? It's sitting there. How do I know? Our local officials. We won a skate park. They said they had no money for us. Guess what we did? We pushed the hell out. They asked for a transparency report. Guess what we found? We found $300,000 sitting there to contribute to our nonprofit, the Dr. Bryant Foundation in City Lights, to then take and get permits and build an entire skate park in the inner city, in the hood, where kids had nothing to do after school. So what am I saying is that transparency is huge, because that allows us to open the books and say, wait a minute, but you said you allocated $500,000 for Black people. Why is it still sitting there? Oh, you allocated this for this. Why is that still sitting there? What's going on here? And that makes it to where we put pressure and we push, and they got to allocate those funds. We know that Brother Torre got some money, but Brother Torre ain't got no receipts. So, hey, you said we actually
I have no Bentleys. I have 0 Bentleys. I have 0 Dior shorts. I have 0 Gucci shirts. I have 0 Ben provided for me. I have not. My goodness. Oh, let me get out of here before I take more bullets. My God.
Oh my God.
That's our show for tonight. Like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel at True Talks -Live. Continue to watch them, because I am dead. They'll be simulcasting right here on the Black Star Network after Roland Martin Unfiltered every night. We got to thank our supporters, Juanita Mahdi, Kyla Carr, and Benjamin Gomes. Juanita, Kyla, and Benjamin, thank you so much for your weekly support for Truth Talks. We really appreciate it. If you want to be in the credits like Kyla, Juanita, and Ben, hit that Cash App and show us some love. And if you're a corporation who wants to show us some love, we accept that Cash App too. Support Black media at Cash App, Truth Talks Live, or on any of the links on your screen. Support the businesses that support us, like the Playpad in Atlanta, an amazing indoor play and activity center for the kids, for the community. Partner with us by visiting truthtalkslive.com. Become a VIP member of the Truth Lounge. Click on any of the co-host rooms, and you'll get a chance to see what they're really all about. Hair Maniacs is supporting our sister Cheyenne Bryant, who's been wearing the product, looking fantastic. The hair still looks fantastic. It's great. Every night, it looks amazing. Hair Maniacs is hooking you up. There it is.
I don't go nowhere without my Hair Maniacs. I don't care what nobody says, honey. I got products of theirs that I put on this hair, and this thing is sewed in. And let me tell you, it is mine. You ain't gonna tell me no. Wait. Judge Lawrence said it's mine, and who gonna check me, boo? It's mine.
I would like to see the receipt. Can you?
Want the receipt?
Black media is under attack, so please tell your friends to support us. Watch the show. Truth Talks is here for you every night, 8 p.m. EST and 8 p.m. PST on the West Coast for Kendrick Lamar fans. Next week, Ebony K. Williams will be here and Ryan Cameron will be sitting in. We will be here every weeknight at 8 p.m. There's Ebony K. Williams. Love her. And we will see you tomorrow. Peace.
Good night, y'all.